Lemon Amiga presents a Playguide video review. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Hi there, welcome to another Lemon Amiga game guide and review. This time we'll be checking out Qwak, developed by Jamie Woodhouse and published by Team 17. It was released in time for Christmas, released November 1993. Title sequence, you can see the basic layout of this game, the coders and the developers, and also the information screens as well, which give us some advantage if we know how the game works. You can see we can collect some fruits just like Bubble Bobble, and we can also similarly collect some gems as well, which we shall see is important later on. And there are various things on the screen. You can levitate, it gives you some armour, gives you some more double damage, it gives you super eggs and chocolate eggs as well. Among the other collectibles you can find some keys which unlock gates, you can find skulls which kill us, and some flowers as well which give us some extra lives, and some mushrooms, some sparks which will kill us, and a pendant which I'm not quite sure what that does, and also give us some eggs, some light, some oil and some glue. And here we are with the controls of the game. Of course we can use the joystick or we can use the keyboard, and you can also swap between 1 and 2 players as well. Pressing fire button to start the game, the very first level starts us off pretty easily, and all we need to do to clear any of these levels is simply collect the key. Just like Gauntlet, that will open the exit door, and now we simply have to touch the exit door to go through it. And all of the other things on the level are simply collectibles, and that very first level opens the game up very easily. You can see we didn't fire anything, we didn't shoot anything on that level. That means we get a peaceful bonus, and if you're going for a high scoring run, definitely a peaceful bonus is something to watch out for. On this particular level we'll have to shoot things, and you can see that black flask in the corner will actually give us some armour. There are 4 stages of armour in the game. The first one is when we have no armour, we're green, and we can also have bronze armour, and also silver armour, which we've got at the moment, and gold armour, which will allow us to take those extra hit points. We can have up to 4 hits in the game, or maybe 3, and then we die. So it's important to continually look at our armour and make sure that we have at least silver armour on board, and if not we'll have to collect those black flasks again. That's us down to bronze. Let's see if we can grab that back up to silver, and once we collide with any of the enemies they should hopefully die, even if we lose some of our shield power by doing that. And what I'm trying to do is not fire at the enemies and get that peaceful bonus. And that's the key collected. That means the exit door is open, and everything else that we collect from now on is simply a bonus. At the end of that you can see that we collected all of the crystals you can see on the top of the screen, and that will give us a crystal bonus which will accumulate, and that doubles with every level. So you can have up to a maximum of 80 million I think it is, and then once you go for 160 million the game will crash. That's actually part of the game itself on the original, so that was a bug in the game. You can't get the crystal bonus at 160 million, you'll just have to die 80 million, and then that will be reset. Along with the crystals, we'll also find fruits on the level, and the fruit means that we can collect them and gain extra eggs when the level is completed. And the fruit bonus will give us a number of eggs depending on the quality of that fruit. The fruit machine aspect, definitely the rarer fruits will give us more eggs, so it's worth collecting the fruit on these levels. But you can also see that the key is wandering around, and the key will go to the opposite corner of where we are, so sometimes grabbing the key at this stage is difficult. And look at that, if you run out of time you'll get loads of spikes on your head and you'll die. And as soon as you die you'll lose the combination of any combos that you've picked up, any gem bonuses and things like that which accumulate. So this, I'm trying to do a high scoring run, so what I'm actually going to do is commit suicide, and sometimes it's easy to fall over enemies at the very start of a level. Let's try that again, and this time Addictive Fun by Jamie Woodhouse. You can see on the screen. I'm not quite sure how much addictive fun it is, but we'll try to get through a bit further now. You can see the first thing to do is to collect one shield, because if we get hit with no shields that means we'll instantly die. And that's the silver shield collected, so we've got the silver armour. You can also see the crystals are very opportune because those are different colours. Sometimes they can be very similar colours, and that doesn't give us much of a gem bonus. You can see we collected 4 of them, but it's only given us the 3 gems. And if you don't shoot anything during the level, you'll get double egg bonus as well. And as you will see later on, the egg bonus definitely piles up. And I think we can also press space as well on this screen, and that will pause the action for however long you want to pause it for. In order to get the best advantage, the experts say that you shouldn't fire over the first 10 or 20 levels of the game, and you're supposed to work out how to kill all these enemies without firing towards them. That means all of this fruit bonus I'm collecting should hopefully pile up, and look at that, we managed to lose all our armour in that attempt, but hopefully we've got the peaceful bonus, which now starts to rack up. And also the egg bonus. You can see, wow, we're really getting towards those eggs. We've got 96 eggs now to fire at those enemies, and it's important to know which screens you should fire and which you shouldn't. And in this particular screen you have to fire at the enemies, and unfortunately as soon as one enemy dies then you won't get the peaceful bonus. And you can see I've already missed a grey key. And it's great, as soon as an enemy dies you can hear that sonically. And as soon as you hear that, the enemy will disappear and it will become harmless. We didn't get the gem bonus on that particular level because we were looking for a blue crystal which hasn't materialised. You can see we can cut through sections, and yet again I'm trying not to fire. We just need the one key, there it is, and we can get the health bonus. So now running towards the exit, hopefully before the friendly ghost goes towards us. We still haven't got the gem bonus, but we do have the peaceful bonus. That really accumulates if you're going for a high scoring run, but more importantly we get the double eggs as well. And so armour will be preserved, it says, on this particular bonus level. It means we can collide with the enemies and we won't lose any armour going into the next one, but if we collide with too many enemies and lose all of our armour, we'll simply get killed. So I'm trying to collect as many bonuses as I can, as many gems as possible, and trying not to touch anything. And you can see, well, we're down to the silver armour. How much more can we get? Well, not much it seems, with all these spikes raining down. And that's the bonus level. The bonus challenge is completed. Let's get through that. We've now 223 eggs which we can fire at the enemy, and definitely this particular level you can get through it without hitting anything, but if you hit that trigger point, unfortunately the ghost will appear, and that means that you have no choice simply to run through it. and you can see the final key now has opened the door, and if we're short of any diamonds, sometimes it will rain randomly random objects on top of us. You can see we still haven't got, unluckily, the final colour to get that gem bonus. Let's just press fire and rush straight on to that next level. You can see the purple flask in the bottom corner. That was invulnerability, which I should have collected but I didn't, and that means that we have to start the level all over again. We've just now lost our multipliers, and you can see it's pretty difficult to shoot all these enemies, particularly that ghost in the bottom corner, and you really have to drop down and shoot it just like that. And we can't get through the gate unless we've got some silver keys. You don't get any heads up display on the game whatsoever. You just have to memorise how many silver keys that we've got, in this case 0, and you can see a switch as well on the wall, and that will open up a secret compartment so that we can get places. And sometimes these collapsible platforms means that we can access different areas. And there are 75 levels on this game, and they appear randomly. You can see this was the second level that we played earlier on. It's now virtually the end of the first world, and sometimes if you shoot things with the chocolate egg, it will give us a coin, which will give us even more bonus. But you can see randomly those ridiculous spikes on our heads means that we lose that armour. Sometimes you can be very lucky or unlucky to get through a stage, and finally we've got through that stage. So we've died, so we don't get much of a gem bonus at this stage. Let's see if we can collect that black stuff, get some more shields. Unfortunately not. And that's another death, and you can pick up extra lives in this game. You see the daisies on the very top of that screen. If you collect, I think, more than 10 of them, then you get an extra life, so it's possible to go for them and preserve lives. And unfortunately it doesn't give us a representation of those on the screen, so you'll just have to again memorise how many we've got. And the enemies will be blocked by the fruit, but as soon as we collect it, unfortunately, well, that's it. That opens up the door to those enemies. Seen Guardian, unlimited eggs. That means we found our first Guardian level. And again, those enemies will emerge out of those spots as soon as we start shooting or, well, collecting that fruit and shoot them down. So they take quite a number of eggs to shoot at this point, maybe 6 or 7. And we've also got a time limit on the top of that screen. So let's try to get that health and lose it again straight away. Let's try to get those keys. Now we move on to the second scenario, the second world, which is an off planet. You can see some planets in the background, and we're on a strange moon somewhere, and tons and tons of keys to pick up on this level. Luckily we can fly, but if we don't manage to fly, then we'll have to ride those balloons up to the top of the level, and that's not particularly easy, but it is possible to access all areas as long as, look at that mist, that health pickup, and as long as we use some lateral thinking, we can in fact get through. And those collapsible platforms, we're going to have to jump over them, otherwise we'll die. So that's my pathetic attempt. So for the final time, let's enter our name and let's start this game all over again, now that we know how to play through those levels, which levels we can hopefully use the fire and which we can't. And the very first time I tried this game I got very far, but I ran out of eggs. And running out of eggs is definitely a consequence of playing this game wrong. You definitely have to learn not to shoot things, definitely on this first level. and if you want to get far you have to conserve your firepower as much as possible, and that's pretty difficult because on a game like this, if you burn through that firepower, yes, you'll probably get onto the second or third world, but then you won't have enough eggs to progress after that. And so trying to get up there onto the big deep levels definitely requires us to take it easy on the first levels and hopefully not get hit. That's definitely one way to do that level without getting hit, and that means, well, peaceful bonus. So what we really need is those ×2 eggs, and that's the only way you can get ×2. We're multiplying eggs, we've still only got 96 in that bank. You can even take some of the levels tactically, and I'm trying to be tactical on this level for obvious reasons, and it's a great feeling when you manage to get that under control, and we only need to fall down once now to make that a reality. And you do have a time limit on these levels, you never know how long that's going to be and how generous that's going to be, and let's just get in there before it starts raining spikes down on us. Again, it would be magnificent if there was some kind of on-screen display telling us how much time that we had, but there isn't. There's nothing. All of the information is on the screens intermittently between those levels, so we're going to have to watch that and look out for that information that we need. So you can see how I'm trying to play these levels now without touching anything. That's completely different how most of the long plays you'll see, and those bubbles won't go through the fruit until we collect it. So in order to get those gems, I'm going to have to ride those bubbles to the top and also collect that fruit. That's not particularly easy, but that's how we can do it. Now cut in off the top. Hopefully we've got enough shield power to get through now, and look at that, I made it look easy. So that's a full rack now of gems. That's the peaceful bonus in the bag, and it should mean hopefully that with all those bonuses and all those accumulators we should be over, well, still not over 200 eggs, and so it's another challenge level. Our bonuses will be preserved if we get killed, and our shields will be, well, the middle armour, the silver one that we've got at the moment, and you can see a necklace at the top. Very unlucky actually to get hit by that thing. So what are we going to do? Are we going to survive? Definitely there is a timer here so that we know how far that we've got left, and now just the tricky situation of, oh no, that's our accumulation flushed down the toilet again. So if it wasn't for that fact, I could have got a good score. But for the sake of this review, and this is a, well, it's supposed to be a try for the games competition, but for the sake of recording something half decent, let's just continue. Let's see how far we can get. It will also give us some tips at the start of the game, and if it says welcome happy ghost, that means that you'll get a happy ghost following you around, and that will kill us if it touches us and wipe off our energy. So we don't want that. And those mushrooms will turn the flowers into spikes, which will kill us, or skulls and crossbones. So if we collect those mushrooms, we can't collect the flowers. And you saw earlier on, we managed to collect an extra life by collecting the flowers at the very start of this level. That's the happy ghost. That means we'll need to collect the flowers again. That's the first 4 collected towards another extra life. and I'm trying to risk it and get some more power back in case, well, we touched that guy. We did that. That was a complete waste of time, and now we'll be very lucky to get to the exit. Qwak was programmed, of course, by Jamie Woodhouse, who also programmed the Team 17 game ATR, which was a massive PAL screen of a car zooming around in an isometric 3D landscape. And of course, Jamie Woodhouse also created Nitro as well. And he developed this game all on his own, and with a little help from Richard Heisman, who did the graphics, and the music was created by Alistair Brimble and Bjorn Lynn. So if you get any screens up telling you that this thing's got adverts all over it, it's not me, it's simply any game that contains Bjorn Lynn music also gets copywritten, so that's why there might be some adverts on this video. But Jamie Woodhouse unfortunately didn't go on to much after this, and he created some things for the Game Boy Advance and other platforms, but nothing much. But this potential was right there. He basically coded this in his bedroom and took it along to a trade fair, presented it to Team 17 as a complete product. They bought it, lock, stock and barrel, and it was on the shelves in time for Christmas, and that was it. So that's how he got himself into the video games industry, with a spec game, and on spec he simply created it and sold it, and even to this day bedroom coders are doing exactly the same thing. And so we move on yet again to the second scenario, which again appears in random order, and you can see myself running through these guys, trying to use our armour strategically so that it kills the enemies, but also it means we don't have to fire on those enemies and waste bullets. And look at that, we're almost dead, and we had to start firing just to save that precious life. And so we've got one silver key, we've got double that gem bonus because it's starting to accumulate all over again, and finally we have over 200 eggs. Sometimes it's a matter of cutting your losses, and definitely if luck isn't on your side, then trying to complete these levels without firing is a nightmare, so you might as well just get on with it. And as soon as you do that, sometimes the enemies will respawn if it tells you they're going to respawn. And so oopsie daisy, let's try that again. Hint, baddies get revenge. In other words, they'll respawn. So randomly we can have showers, we can have baddies respawning, and they will take more shots to kill at this stage. And I'm not sure if it resets the eggs or not, but definitely if you're wasting eggs trying to get through these same levels all over again, then it's a bit of a waste of time. Luckily some of them contain flowers, and if I use this helicopter wisely and collect that invulnerability, hopefully I'll be able to collect those flowers as well, and hopefully make our way through to some more extra lives. And one up, there it is. Another amazing thing about this game is it has a 2-player simultaneous mode where you can help each other by collecting the keys, or you can fire the eggs at each other and murder each other. So it can be a 2-player competitive mode or a 2-player joint action to try to complete the levels, and that adds another dimension to the game. Obviously it doesn't slow down at all if you're trying to do that. So 2-player simultaneous action is possible, and you can definitely play this on Amiga Live. you saw the hint at the top of the screen, hopefully, wish I'd brought my brolly. So the hardest thing on this screen is to get the key in the top corner. You can see there's a purple flask on the floor. That's great, that gives us a helicopter so we can reach it. Let's try to get there without that this time and simply collect the final key, hopefully, and get through the exit. It's as easy as that, as long as we don't collect those spikes by mistake, which is very easy to do on this level. And 10 coins for free. So it's difficult, and if you run out of time it will give us even more spikes. So sometimes it's possible to get some shields back as well, sometimes it isn't, so there are lots of randomnesses in this game, which means no two players are the same, every level is different, and sometimes luck will be against us, like most of the times I've been trying to play this in the competition. Collecting the shield, the invulnerability shield, definitely gives us a free hand at completing that level, because that lasts maybe 20 seconds and some levels have a time limit of less than that. So if you can go for the purple energy shield, that gives us a free ticket. We don't have to shoot anything, it gives us all those bonuses for free. So I'm still waiting for the deep purple gem, which might fall on our heads. And again, if you can master these levels without shooting anything, which I've tried to do any number of times, then you should only have the ghosts that are the problem and the randomnesses of spikes falling down on us. So that's the level clear, and all of our shields, we've got gold energy. Let's not risk anything else, and if we hadn't have died a billion times, we would have been on maybe 1 million bonus by now. That really racks off our total score, but we've earned 500,000 so far. You also have to make sure that you get the mushrooms to turn the eggs into flowers. That's another extra life we've just picked up, and some levels only have 4 keys in them, so really the extra stuff you don't even have to worry about. And let's rush, let's wait and see which exit door opens, because there's always 2 of them, so even the exit doors are random in this game. Rushing on to those scores, and Amiga Force gave this 69%, Amiga Games Magazine gave this 73%, Amiga Joker gave Qwak 77%, Amiga Action awarded this 79%, Amiga Dream awarded this 80%, the current Lemon Amiga score is 81%, Amiga User International awarded this 84%, and CU Amiga awarded this 87%, and an award, The One gave this 88%, Amiga Power gave this 88%, and Amiga Computing gave this 92%, and an award, which means this game gets around about an average score of 8 out of 10. I think the prospect of not shooting anything on the level definitely adds a lot to it and ramps up the difficulty, and you can definitely make the game much harder on yourself, just like this, by trying to do that, which is very difficult. So my advice is to shoot everything by the time you get to this stage, and don't worry too much about the eggs, because there's so much fruit on the level. If you collect half of that, then it's going to give us tons of eggs anyway, even though that isn't doubled. If you can get through this thing, then that gives us a free ticket for the next 10 levels, and if you can't, then just shoot everything. So some of the music is very memorable, definitely the hurry up music. When you get the hurry up music, that's definitely something that sticks in my mind. And that's the music that appears when the rain shower starts going on, and also when spikes, I think, appear from the top. So we've made it onto another challenge level, where the challenge is to stay alive, and the challenge is to not get hit, but we failed to do that, but we did manage eventually to get through those bosses. That takes us on to the third world of maybe 7 in this game. The third world is a nice snow level with some immaculate snow in the background, better than the magnetic field snow in Lotus 2. So there are definite graphical touches to this game. It's not a standard platformer, and there is stuff happening in the background, not that the player will notice much of that. And again, I'm trying to get this tactically, and again, I'm not really going to do it. I'm trying to save those eggs, because as long as we keep a stock of maybe 200 in the bank, that should mean that we can progress. And we got 226 plus these, that gives us 233. Those eggs will run out later on. So the graphics are great, and this was released at $12.99, which is one of the things that all of the magazines pointed out. It doesn't matter how great the graphics are, how great the music is, how great the playability is, the fact that it's $12.99 gave all of the magazines a better score from this. And what a stupid mistake that was to land on that guy's head. So it has got charm, and there's a lot of people out there that love it and can play this a lot better than I can and can get a lot further. And that's how you play Qwak on the Amiga. And thank you for this play guide and review. We'll see you again in another one sometime soon. Thank you.